Well, you know what's so crazy is I think all Elon Musk is saying, hey, if you work for me, show up to the job.
Yeah.
Mike, you have employees. Do they
I
show
expect
up?
them to do their job. All right, so we got a lot of news regarding elections, financial, Elon Musk,
wow.
and we got some good news to bring to you guys. A lot going on this week. Obviously, election week just ended, and
No red wave.
Not as much as they wanted,
No.
but it's still good news. We're still going in a better direction. The thing is, I was hearing, listening to some of the guys this morning on radio or podcast. Bongino was talking about, that in some of these blue cities, they haven't had the heat turned up enough yet, but they will.
Well, you know, there's a lot of things that I know our connections with the Daily Wire. We get a lot of information, and you know, there's some positive stuff out there if you're looking for a direction. And I'm not sitting out there saying Democrats are bad, Republicans are good, or Republicans are bad, Democrats are good. I'm just out there saying the issues are the issues.
Right.
You know, we have high crime. We do. No matter what people say.
You put together a whole show on crime
Yeah,
last week.
I did. and how you skew the numbers, just keep saying it. It's all narrative.
Well, everyone wants to say, oh, it's bad. It's good news. Look, we're probably going to win control of the Senate. We definitely are going to win control of the House. We've got a lot of governorships, but if you look in some of the cities, obviously Florida was a landslide victory for Republicans.
And let's just talk about why we think that. And this is why I think, Mike, you want me to start?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Go for
because
it.
I think DeSantis has done a fabulous job
Phenomenal.
of just saying, I'm going to run my state that I've been elected to run. I don't care what else the country says. Yeah. I'm going to protect my citizens. We're done with the vaccine.
Yeah.
We're going to move away from that. We're done. We're opening up the schools. We're closing the borders. And he did what he said. I think people want to see.
And it was effective. And it produced good results.
So I think what people want is I think they want to see a leader do what they say they're going to do and see results.
Yeah.
And then they have positive results by what they're doing. And Florida had a lot of Republican ideas that DeSantis brought in, and they elected Republicans to bring it about because they have a great leader in the state of Florida.
Well, something about leadership, and I think you can say Ron DeSantis is this way also, is something about my leadership is if I say something, I'm going to do it.
And if you don't...
And I hold myself accountable to my own word.
And if you don't, you got to come out and say you didn't.
Right.
You know, I mean, basically, you know, and I love when DeSantis stops somebody and say, that's the problem, that's not true.
Yeah.
And you have to say that. I mean, there again, I mean, if you even look in the state of California, you know, the Democrats, you know, Governor Newsom won the race, but the Republicans' challenger had 42% of the vote. After a
mass exodus.
Yeah, mass exodus, which everybody's saying is bolstering up and balancing. And you know, Mike, we talk about this all the time because everybody knows we have a show called, you know, Muscles Matter.
Yeah.
And we're talking about in fitness, and everybody's like fitness right now. They like balance. You've got to put your training in balance, your cardio in balance, your resistance training, your nutrition, your sleep. Our country needs balance.
Yeah.
They do. You know, I mean, honestly, it's great. And I think the way our country's set up, every year we elect a new leader because maybe the balance got off. Maybe their time in office is over and we need new leadership. And that's one of the things that I love about our democracy, which I do believe it works.
Well, you know, something else that's positive that I don't hear enough people talking about, North Carolina. There was a lot more shift towards conservatism in that state as well. And even New York, very, very blue New York, ended up with a lot of a shift there.
Well, you know, and I think everybody has to do a better job of explaining their positions and then coming out and doing that. And I think that the abortion thing got way off track. And I believe I heard it explained very well for one of our friends over at the Daily Wire, is that a woman's right for her body, we want choice. We want choice. I got the vaccine. You didn't.
Right.
My family, my girls didn't. My wife, my kids, they didn't. I did. I wasn't getting any more boosters, but I chose that over my body. I think a woman can choose the right for her body but there's a body inside her body which has different DNA,
Yeah.
has different makeup, and I think that's where it stops because they do have a right over their body. Then they're there, and then you got to bring in the medical professionals and let them participate in this decision too. So I think you have to present your position a little more clear. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, when you get down to that issue, and I don't want to.
I know, but I just think I think it's important because single women that are independents seem to vote more Democratic than Republican, and there's a big section of them, and you've got to address their concerns.
But it's because they're believing the media and the lies that the media.
Well, I would agree, and maybe the Republicans haven't done a good enough job of explaining their position.
That's true.
It's
Definitely.
at the state level. You haven't lost that. It's at the state level, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think it just needs to be better.
So we were talking earlier about Arizona. Also, that's one of the big races that still hasn't come out. And allegedly, Alex always makes me say this. Allegedly, there was a big ballot drop last night. 200,000.
How do you?
200,000.
You know, I just got.
What, 2 days after the election?
You know, I mean, honestly, Arizona is a laughingstock of the world.
Oh, it's insane.
Well, you know, it wouldn't. What's the old saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah. What, fool me like 3 or 4 or 5 times? What is that called?
Mike, you have an IT company.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Your people want you to deliver today. If they got a problem, and it's going to take you a week to figure it out, you think you're going to have them as clients anymore? No. You're going to lose them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to think, hey, MLH Solutions.
Yeah.
You weren't a solution. And the
Right.
same thing with the elections. Whatever you did didn't work.
Right, but you know, it's interesting. Another thing that was brought up on one of the shows I was listening to earlier is people are voting with their feet, right? So why did North Carolina, why did Florida have these big shifts to the red? Because conservative people from California, New York, Chicago, and other blue states and cities are moving to those areas and shifting the demographics. And that's a good thing, right? Because continue to do that. If you feel like, hey, I'm going to stay and fight, do it, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing. We saw that in California, the higher percentage, and there's a good chance in 24 to make a shift there. But we're also shifting the electoral college.
Well, you know, as you go through that, everybody knows that listens to our shows that I'm moving to Nashville in 2024. And as you hear these states, a lot of them, and I heard this from our Daily Wire friends on their show on election night coverage, they say, you know, Tennessee's saying, hey, Californians, come here, but don't bring your politics. They're saying, no, bring your politics. Because it's the people that are having more of a conservative mind that are moving to Tennessee.
Yeah.
They're moving to Florida. They're moving to Texas. So you want that influence. And then you can come out in California with a 42% for a conservative-minded governor candidate who didn't win. But I'm just saying, so you're distributing that.
Yeah, and so as far as the balance of power goes, you know, we had a couple images that Alex wants to bring them up, but right now we still are not completely there as far as knowing where we're going to land, but it looks like, you know, we're going to end up with 50, maybe 51 Republican seats, hopefully 51, because that'll knock out Kamala from being the deciding vote. But then when we go to the House, which you were just with Kevin last night. Is that okay to say?
Yeah. He was at the event that I was at.
And some others, but they're almost certainly going to win the House, right? And you know, it's up in the air by how much. But at this moment in time, as of the moment I last looked, they're at 211 in the House, and you need 218 to be the majority. Is probably going to be a little bit more than 218. So.
Yeah, you know, and I think, but you know, Mike, and I think once you see those numbers, and don't numbers skew things?
They do.
Because not everybody's going to agree on every subject. And I think that's the beauty of our government. What was established is that you may get some Democrats that believe more in what the Republicans are doing,
That's true.
and the Republicans believe more in what
That's
the
true.
Democrats.
Yeah.
So you just can't say, oh my gosh, we got the number, we're in, we can do what we want. You know,
Right.
just look at the administration this right now. A lot of things have been stopped because not all the Democrats agreed with the direction it was going. They agreed more with a conservative view. I mean, so as we're there, I mean, I still think it's a wonderful system.
But they were asking Biden the other day, hey, what are you going to change, after the election? So he's like, oh no, nothing. I'm just going to keep going down that same track. There's not even a track anymore. The train just running into the dirt and about to fall off a cliff. But at least we're in a place now where the Republicans can stop a lot of the bad things that he could do to do further damage.
I even liked a couple of things that our president said. I can say that because I do pray for him every day, because as a believer, that's what we're told to do. And he said that he was looking forward to working with what would possibly be the majority leader, which would be Congressman McCarthy from our hometown, and that he was looking forward to working with Republicans to get things done. Now, that attitude I like, and I'm hoping he was having a good day when he said it, But we all have to think about that. I mean, really, honestly, I am concerned that we have a president that maybe not
senile.
Yeah, and man, I have to be careful with that because I'm 64, and you just start losing your cognitive.
You're not
thinking.
senile most of the time, Tom.
I know. I sometimes I just talk to my wife and you, but there again, he's saying I'm going to run 2024, and I think everybody's like, so if you've had an elderly parent, I remember my mother was still driving at 92. And we didn't dare take the keys from her because it just really upset her. So I don't know who's going to tell Biden if they want him to run in 2024 or not. But I don't think you can take the keys from Grandpa Joe.
Oh, they're going to have to wake him up and get him out of bed first.
I don't know.
But
and I could say that jokingly, praying for the man. But I would like to see the people that have a better cognizant reality.
Yeah,
lead the country.
We're talking about good things involving Biden.
Yeah, we are.
And there was something good involving Biden that happened recently, and that was a federal judge in Texas has struck down his student loan handout. So,
really?
Biden's trying to do something bad, but frankly, it's not legal, right? And they're trying to get all of you guys watching, to pay for people's college loans that I didn't even go to college.
Well,
Mike, I took a few classes. I paid for them myself.
Both my girls got great scholarships, one with athletics, one with academics. But, a lot of people don't realize that, college isn't a free ride anymore for people to even get scholarships. So my girls are paying some debt because you have to take the loans that are offered to you before you get your other athletic or academic applied to your bottom line balance. And so, but they went into it knowing it and are paying it.
Yeah.
It's what they owe, they're paying.
Some people, you have quite a few people that believe, college should be free. And then other people that believe, no, you should pay for your own. Like my whole belief, and this
you shouldn't have to pay for my daughters who went to college.
Absolutely not.
And my wife went back.
But not only that, I consider college to be largely a waste of money and time, and especially the way it's structured. A lot of school system is majorly broken, and I'm not going to go on that soapbox, Tom. I'm not going to go on a tirade, but I have some very strongly held
Mike,
beliefs regarding that.
I will, because last night I attended an event here in town that was our law enforcement's annual awards dinner, and they had probably 30 cadets. And I was shocked when Shannon Grove, our Senate representative here in Bakersfield, said that every law enforcement official now, meaning police officers, sheriffs, have to have a college degree. Yes. And so they're saying we want you to go to college before you can now become a law enforcement officer.
That's interesting. Her being a conservative would want to send people to a place where they're going to brainwash them.
No. She's not saying that. She's saying they have to.
No, I understand that.
But it's not something they impose.
Okay, got it. She's commenting on reality, not saying she's for it or against it.
No. She's not for it at all.
Okay.
And I'm not either. I there again, my brother, who didn't have a college degree, was a deputy sheriff for 29 years. Did a great, fantastic job. So as you see there, you're now putting a qualification on people that could be very capable, but just because they go to college doesn't mean they have it. So if they're paying for more people to go to college and forgiving the debt, where are we going to end up? And so that was just an epiphany for last night. And I'm sure I probably should have known that, but it took me at a dinner.
It's interesting you say that, because all of these highly educated people running different segments of society, and especially law enforcement. Where's their crime gone? It's not gone down.
Well, what I love about what they did though is at this event they asked people in our community to donate to a fund to help offset some of the costs that these cadets were going to inquire, and they did that on their own free will. A lot of businessmen gave money for that. One of our guests and hosts for here, John Haddad, he was Businessman of the Year last night, and which was really cool. John deserves that. But he gave $10,000 to the fund that's going to help offset their costs. And other people gave more.
And you know, John is so humble. I'm sure he probably doesn't want everybody to know that. But
well, I just told him that unless we have to edit it. No, he raised his paddle. Then it was so funny, and I'll tell you.
But that's cool, John. You do a great job. Thank you.
It was so funny because somebody was talking to him about it, and he goes, "Yeah, I raised it." And they go, "Oh, you want to give 10 more?" And he goes, "No, I don't want to give any more money." And I messed with him. I said, "Man, if I could get your paddle, I'd raise it again."
Oh man, but we're doing a lot of stuff that involves law enforcement and frontline workers and all of that stuff, and you guys will probably be seeing some content about that coming up down the road.
Mike, you're very deep with it.
I am.
With K-Love and the SISM.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there again. I mean, it's great to be able to help people with crisis management of trauma.
Yeah, but it's been interesting hearing a lot of people's stories. I will tell you, if you're watching this, go and thank a police officer, and especially as being Veterans Day. Go and thank a veteran, because you don't understand. Some of you guys do. A lot of you guys probably don't. I didn't until I heard it firsthand. What they do for you and for our country, and how much they're sacrificing to do that.
Well, you know, Mike, this is something I heard
and
last
you
night.
Probably understand because your brother, but
my brother, but you know what we don't, Mike. When you and I, or a lot of our audience are in our beds at nighttime, they're out protecting our community as law enforcement, protecting our nation as soldiers.
Yeah. And a lot of times at the sacrifice of their own personal family or even their life.
Yes, they're willing to put their life down.
Yeah.
We had a great lunch break this week with a Lieutenant Colonel Hardy, and he was a Tuskegee Airman. So if you want to catch that episode, we're shamelessly plugging it.
There was something else that Biden said recently, and it was regarding Elon Musk. Elon Musk obviously been in the news quite a bit recently. And with Twitter recently taking over towards the end of
He's another big employer.
Yeah, he is. He has been for a long time.
He's got
another company that now he owns, and he's doing some stuff and shaking up some stuff. A lot of people are getting upset about it, but they asked Biden a question about Musk, and he's like, "Oh, we're going to investigate him." But he's allegedly not based on any grounds. They're just like, "Oh, we're going to investigate him as a person and look for a crime."
Well, you know what's so crazy is I think all Elon Musk is saying, "Hey, if you work for me, show up to the job."
Yeah.
Mike, you have employees. Do they show up?
I expect them to do their job.
I work for a church. I've got to show up and do my job.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting because this is a culture thing, and I've been working on a lot, and you know this, some programs that involve like your team and team building and culture and all that. This is actually probably ultimately going to end up being a good thing, but it's going to shake out the people that don't belong there and are
absolutely
have negative influence.
We can all say this. And my wife's in education, is superintendent of a school district. She was teaching in the classroom when the pandemic happened, and distance learning does not work. They're finding that out. Did not work. And we're now catching up. So how well does working from home
Well, I'll tell you, because when I need to focus, because I'm both distracted and a distraction when I'm in the office a lot. And a lot of times that can be a good thing. But there are times where I need to step away and focus on some things, so I'll separate myself.
I'd agree with you. That's fair.
So there's I think there's a balance. But like, hey, you have an office, go shut the door. Yeah.
We're talking a balance of power. We're talking a balance at work too. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So I think that for the most part, more gets done when you're in the office and around your coworkers and stuff, unless you need to focus on something very specific for a period of time. So I would prefer to be in the office myself.
Me too. Well, I can read this. It says that a judge blocks Biden's administration of transgender school bathroom rule and athletes. The teenager said she is suing the doctors who performed the gender-affirming surgery because she wants to end the practice. I want to hold adults that put me in harm's way accountable, because what happened to me is horrible, but also didn't happen to me but it also didn't only happen to me. That's the worst part. It's happening to children all over the U.S.
Yeah, so it's Chloe Cole is the name, and I think that Daily Wire's been largely involved in this deal too as well. But
They're
she's
always
one of the
involved
biggest,
with something. Daily Wire,
she's
good
one
job,
of the biggest
guys.
proponent. Yes, good job, guys. Especially this is one of Matt Walsh's big
Yeah,
kind of crusades. If you will.
we talk a lot about the Daily Wire because one of our creative consultants, Tessa Jimenez,
Tessa
my
Jimenez.
daughter used to be Tessa Touchstone, is the talent manager at Daily Wire. So
Yeah.
we say that loud and proud, because they do a very good job bringing out the truth in a lot of subjects.
But in Chloe's own words, she said, "As an adult, I will never be able to breastfeed. Whatever children I will have, I don't even know if because I was put on puberty blockers and testosterone at only 13 years old. I don't know if I'll be able to conceive a child naturally. I made an adult decision as a child."
Yeah.
And she's going after the doctors that did that, which I think, frankly, I agree with her. I'd be on her side about that. But also as a parent, right? Because I'm a parent of young children.
Well, I think if you go back and you read a quote from Scripture, it says, "When I was a child, I thought and acted as a child.
Right.
When I became adult, I changed my childish ways." There's a difference between a child and an adult.
Right, but it's my job as a father, as an adult male
I agree.
father, and my wife's, but more so me. It's on me because I'm the head of the household. To lead my children in the way they should go, raise a child up in the way they should go, and they will never depart from it. And
I agree.
Children are going to think childish things, and they're going to think silly things. Dean the other day said, "Well, I'm a dinosaur. Does that mean I should see if we can go see a doctor and have a tail at it?" No. It's my decision to protect him, even a lot of times from himself.
Well, as a father of two daughters, that and now I have a son-in-law who I've seen them all go through their teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thinking process that as you're a teenager, if you don't realize it, if you're a parent out there, you know what I'm talking about, that they start to have different thoughts.
Yeah.
But usually around 20 or 21, they come back to the middle again, and they're like, "Dad, you were right." And I'm not saying we want to be right.
It takes us a little bit longer. I would say maybe I wasn't thinking straight until I was 30. You grew up faster and in a different generation than me. But and the younger guys, I don't know, maybe when they're 50. But
He said that.
I did, allegedly.
No, he said that. I heard him. Don't let him say that.
Did your daughters ever think anything silly like, "Oh, I want to be this" or whatever?
Oh, absolutely. They were swayed based on what they watched on TV.
Cartoons.
They were swayed by what they heard. And when they went to college, it's those things. I love it because you've got to take in new thought process. The mind is an amazing thing, and I think you have to take in ideas, and then you have to run them through the filter that you have, and then make a decision whether they're good or bad. That's why we have certain ages. Like at 16, you get to drive, which I'm still not sure about that one. I mean, if you got kids, when they start driving, you'll start praying. I mean, then when they get 18, they're technically an adult. Then they get 21, they can technically drink. So there's certain ages that we say you have to get there because your experience is going to give you the wisdom to make a decision. And on this things changing your gender, they're way too young, and they're way too young to be informed of a different thought process without informing the parents.
Yeah. Well, I want to say this, and not just on this issue, but there's other issues. If you're a parent out there, especially as a father, but if you're a single mother as well, sometimes you have to stand up for your child, and very often you have to stand up for your child. But sometimes when you do that, you're going to go against society and what other people say. And I want to encourage you, if you're watching, to do that. Don't be afraid to stand up for what's right for your child, because you're protecting them. And what you do now will have long-lasting effects 20, 30, 40 years down the road.
Well, let's think about it, Mike, because what is some of the biggest changes that are happening? They're happening at the grassroots.
Yeah.
Parents have stood up. They did in Virginia, Loudoun County.
Yes.
They came in, they said, "No, we're responsible for our children, and the decisions you make are going to affect our children, and we're going to say no. We had a lot of big changes in school boards this last election. A lot of people came on because they wanted to have a voice. And if you're out there, you need to use your voice. Isn't that the beauty of this country we live in and the system
First
we
Amendment.
live in? Yes. I mean, go out there, speak up for your kids, get in and make a change. My wife will say that all the time. Parents, we need to include our parents.
Yes.
They say that. It's interesting. The school says parenting belongs at the home. Well, then leave it at the home.
Yeah.
You've got to educate them. So let's get back to reading, writing, arithmetic in the school system, and let's leave parenting at the home.
Well, and one more final thing I want to add on to that topic is that's why Tom and I and 511 Media, MLH Productions, we do what we do.
Faith, family, and freedom.
We want to support and encourage and strengthen nuclear families, the men and the women leading those households, and promote those values at home and in any way that we can. So if you want to reach out to us, do so. But
if you have any complaints, Mike Harvey.
You can send them to Alex.
No, we got big shoulders, Mike.
we do, definitely. Thick skin, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things we
I
want
like
to
big
do
shoulders
for you guys, you got big shoulders, ex-bodybuilder here. But we want to end on a good note, so we want to bring you some positive encouragement. And I know that last segment we were kind of edifying as well, but there's a story from Patricia Heaton tells Christians disappointed by midterms, governments are finite, God is ever sustaining.
What does the word say? It says that God holds the heart of kings in his hand.
He does.
And they, in his power, guides them like water around a rock. So I love that. And she's an actress on Everyone Loves Raymond, right? So
yeah.
Everybody does love Raymond.
it's a great comedy show.
It's funny.
But it's
some of you may not want your kids watching it, but I'm saying it is funny. Comedy is good. Bible says laughter is good medicine.
It is.
You know what I laugh at a lot, Mike? And I'm still laughing at cat videos. I do. Hey, they make me laugh. I send them to my kids all the time, and they go, "Dad, don't tell anybody else." I don't care. I'm getting too old not to care, Mike.
So I want to tell all of you guys, on that, kind of continuing on what Patricia Heaton had said, that if you're out there and you're disappointed by the results of the election or whatever, remember God is eternal. This world isn't, and also remember nobody comes into power
that God doesn't give the thumbs up to.
Yeah. So God's still on the throne,
and that's a whole other topic, because I'm not saying God's okay with it, but it runs through.
Well, he knows that the world has to get worse, and we talked about it this morning in Bible study.
We did.
The world has to get worse before it can get better.
If you go to the Bible and read the end of the book, wow, hold on.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. God bless. Yes.